Alex and Alex. We have the same name.
We do. I'm Alex Ryan.
I'm Alex Vellis.
And with us today is special guest, the camera.
the camera.
And behind it
is Rowan French.
Hello.
What did it sound like? Was it? Not Elmo. What was it? Bird?
Mickey Mouse.
Oh no, that's actually what I was thinking of.
Bird.
No, birds, like from Bert.
Oh, Bird. Oh, geez, Bird. No, that's Morty. Everything's Morty.
Either guys. No, I don't even know what that was. I'm ill. Like, give me a like.
Oh,
give
Bert,
me a loan.
Bert, you're scaring me, Bert. That's it, isn't it?
Either Bert.
Yeah.
Either Bert.
Never watched Sesame Street.
Did you not?
No.
It's actually pretty good.
Is it?
Well, when I was a child, I mean.
You still watch it now.
Unless
You've exhausted everything.
Unless I was like on acid or something, I don't think it'd be.
You don't think it'd be good?
No, maybe mushrooms.
But some sort of drug, some sort of psychedelic.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't really watch. It's like people that are just like, yeah, it's a really good TV show, man. And it's just like, isn't that the one that's for like 4 to 5 year olds? It's like, yeah, it's really good. It's really.
Yeah,
good.
shut up, man. Yeah, I like it, man.
Like, yeah,
It's real cool, man.
What's
Shut
the
up.
other one? Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Oh, those are terrifying. Those are genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, I think they're actually like kids shows for adults.
Yeah, it's like it's designed to look like a kid's show.
But then it's like, green is not a creative colour.
Scrub, scrub, scrub till the water's brown. That is fucked up as well. Did you have you watched all of them? That Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Yeah, there's like 7 of them. Plus
Yeah.
like extra little like trailer bits that are just really weird.
No,
ways
where
of
like
being
Red
stolen.
is tied up in the dungeon.
Yeah.
How does it end though? Do they wrap up the story?
I can't remember. I haven't seen it in ages. But,
I remember the second one with the clock really gets to me.
The one about time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got a clock.
Yeah.
Well, they all have clocks. I'll tell you the one. No, it's the first one where they end up like finger painting with that cow's heart. Or, like, pig's heart.
Yeah. And they all get really dark, don't they? But they're not actually made for children, right? Like they know what they're doing.
Unless you
they're
hate
not
your kids.
accidental. If you wanted to traumatize like your own or someone else's children, you could do. So what have you been up to? What have you been?
Oh God, I'm so ill.
Media, what you're ill.
I'm so ill. Jesus Christ! It looks like I'm drinking tea. I'm actually drinking Lemsip. Like trying not to just like die in a corner. Which is actually exactly what I'll do if I do die.
Because you are in the corner.
I am in the corner.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you don't want to die in the corner, you should move to your centre of the room. Now you're not having the seat. The seat's really comfy.
It's so comfy. Like sometimes when it's late at night, and this is gonna get weird.
You just get out of bed and sit in the chair.
No, I just sit there and play games on my phone. It's really comfy.
Yeah,
it's
it is
nice
quite
because I can hear people walking past and I'm just like, I hate you.
You're
and your good time.
It's right by the window. You should occasionally just like put your hand on the window as people go past.
Actually, interestingly enough, last
I don't know,
night.
you might get stabbed around. Someone would definitely
what are you
punch
doing?
back through the window.
For starters, it's double glazed. The second thing is, it's quite a nice area. I mean, like, if you ignore all the noise and stuff.
You ignore all the stabbings.
Yeah.
Aside from
Actually, do
that.
you know what? I live between the 2 streets in Canterbury that have the most crimes reported on them.
That's either. I mean, at least they get reported.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
Yeah, that's like a.
One of them's called Biggleswade's Passage. Can you imagine that? That's
fucking everything in the UK is named so silly. Like there are all these towns around it, like Pet's Bottom.
Yeah, or
Like not a real place.
I saw a place came up on my Facebook. Please add an effect on that later.
Like a rainbow.
Anyway, and it's called Cunt Road.
Really?
Apparently.
Cunt Road.
Yeah.
Is it spelled like that?
Yeah, it's
I bet the tour guides have to like really go out of their way to not pronounce it cunt.
cute.
Like this is
Just gonna go blow my nose.
Okay. Yeah, for those of you that aren't watching this and are just listening, we're set up with 2 chairs, some Lucozade, which we love, and a roll of toilet paper.
Lucozade. Yeah, no, and an awful lot of like Spider-Man paraphernalia. Because did you just dab?
No, I coughed.
Oh right. An awful lot of Spider-Man paraphernalia because J. Michael Straczynski is not returning my phone calls.
No, he's still not.
It's actually, if anything, it's a bit rude.
A little bit rude of him.
A little bit rude.
Mr. Straczynski.
Dr. Straczynski.
Get back to him.
Please.
Get back to him.
I feel like an illegitimate child. Please, Daddy, return my phone calls. God, that's a little bit too true to life.
Lot of dad stuff today. Lot of dark stuff.
It was like the joke that I put on Twitter earlier. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I know. I give it a like.
It's so good. Do you reckon I should probably mention what that is now that we've...
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like once you've acknowledged its existence, you have to clarify what it is.
Okay. So I posted on Twitter earlier, which is at Alex Relish Poet, if anyone's interested.
Ooh, nice plug.
Thank you. Interesting segue into me. Anyway, I hate segues so much. What a stupid invention. Anyway, but yeah, it was... The reason that I don't like salads is because it reminds me of leaves. No, that's not right. The reason that I don't like salads... Try that again. The reason that I don't like salads is because it has leaves, and that reminds me of my dad.
Got there in the end.
Yeah, it took way too long to get
It's the
there.
way he tells them.
Yeah. Good thing I'm not a professional speaker. Anyway, so today we're going to be speaking about mythology in pop culture. And
Yeah, because last week we were meant to get into American Gods, and we kind of spent too long discussing fish and chips and why the lead character in Star Trek is a girl called Michael, which I actually looked up, and this is a thing. So Brian Fuller, who developed, like, he's the showrunner behind American Gods,
Yeah.
he did Hannibal as well. He worked on developing Star Trek Discovery initially, and apparently it's one of his things he likes to do is he likes to give his lead female characters guys' names.
Really?
I can't think of any other examples because I haven't watched any of his other shows. And in Hannibal, the closest he comes is he adapts a couple of guy characters from the book into girls. So you
Okay.
get Freddie Lowndes and Alana Bloom, who was Alan Bloom in the book.
Yeah.
So apparently he knows it's mostly a guy's name, and he wanted to just call him Michael.
Actually, in the third episode, I believe it's the third episode, they in Star Trek Discovery, one of the characters actually mentions about how much of a weird name that is.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Is it Jason Isaacs?
No, it's Ensign Tilly. I think her name's Ensign Tilly.
Okay.
Science Officer Tilly. But
I
she,
still haven't actually watched the third episode. I do need to.
nice one. No, but seriously, she turns around and she goes, "Oh yeah, Michael Burnham. That's such a peculiar name." This is obviously paraphrased. Michael Burnham. That's such a peculiar name. The only other Michael Burnham that I know is the mutineer Michael Burnham, and you can't possibly be that Michael Burnham.
You can't be him. You're still employed here.
Yeah, no, she's now part of the Discovery crew manifesto. Crew is actually the word that I'm looking for. I don't know where
Manifesto.
Yeah, I just wanted to sound clever.
Just adding extra words.
Neoclassicalism.
Is that your word of the week? Now back to Alex Velas's word of the week. Neoclassicalism. What does it mean?
New old.
In any context.
Well, yeah, just however you like.
However you like. I'm sure it has a particular meaning. It's like
I used
it's
it in
got to be like
reference to
architecture.
art. Yeah, no, I used it in reference of art, but also I used Neolithic in a poem that I wrote the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Still, it's cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, all artists think that their work shine. But,
Is this you like you're hoping that someone will tweet you like, no, your work's great, man.
I got tweeted. I got tweeted the other day, being like, "Oh, I really like this poem that I got on National Poetry Day." That I'd written.
Okay, it wasn't just paper. Hey, you're a poet. I like poems. You like my poems? Never heard them. Oh no. Yeah. So we spent too long. Well, not too long. We spent a perfect amount of time. We did.
Actually, we spent loads of time talking about Rick and Morty. But
oh god, the Rick and Morty fan base thing just seems to be degenerating more and more as well. You know that video that you posted of
the Szechuan sauce.
Oh god, yeah.
What a
he's
cunt.
like rolling around on the floor.
I can't say
But
that.
the thing about that
recorded.
he's got to be doing that because he thinks it's funny. He's like, oh, I'm gonna like go really over the top, but it's like you're still being a dick. Like people will be like, oh, it's satire.
It's not
like,
satire.
No, like,
you're a cunt.
You're still behaving like an arsehole.
You're literally upsetting, you're interfering with other people's days because you think it's funny. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Although I did see that was posted on Reddit, and a bunch of people.
I only just got the pun on Reddit, by the way. It's
like Reddit. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's the pun. Like, I've never really clicked it because I don't really read Reddit. Well, I don't read Reddit.
I lurk on there. It's a real good time killer. If you don't have nothing else to scroll.
Long time reader, first time poster.
Yeah, well, haven't still posted.
Right, no, me neither. But
yeah, no. On the thread about that, there were a lot of other like low wage, paid by the hour workers who were like, actually, if I was working at McDonald's, my reaction would just be like, see how this plays out, because you get paid by the hour no matter what.
Yeah.
So like at best you get like a funny story, and that's why in the video the people behind the counter were like, sir, stop. Like they don't really give a shit. Of course they don't.
It's like when you go into a place and you see someone actively stealing in a place with no security guards, and the staff are just like,
don't get paid enough.
I don't care. Like, it's the ones that really weird me out. The stuff that are just like, oh, you can't steal from here. Not that I steal from anywhere, but
While I'm stealing, what about the police as well? Those guys are dicks. You can't just steal that. Well, who are you to stop me? What are you, the stealing police? That's just the regular police. It's the same police.
What's that like? Fuck off. What I meant is like I've seen people actively stealing stuff, and like Jesus Christ, I don't care. Like these large companies have like
they build in like clauses, yeah.
Yes, and then when you get someone that's just a member of staff that obviously takes their job really seriously, and it's just like you're not a security guard. I mean, you run the risk of getting attacked for this. So
yeah, I mean, if I was like working somewhere and someone was like really obviously just like jacking stuff off the shelves and being a dick, I'd be like, come on.
If you're being a dick about it,
yeah, like don't do that.
Like. If someone's doing it like super obviously, like I'm going to take this and put it in my pocket and like in front of you, and it's part of your job description to be like, could you please not? Then sure. But if you see someone stealing, you're just like, I don't really.
Well, you're not going to put yourself at risk as well.
But that's the thing. Like anyone that starts interfering with something like that in which they're not trained in that sort of capacity.
Well, also the company definitely does not care enough about you to protect you. If you get hurt, the company will be like, no, you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, like this. Like, that's not part of your job description.
Yeah. Bloody capitalism.
Yeah, dickheads. Anyway,
got him. It's the worst.
Actually, do you know what? We can pretend that you said Gollum, and we'll or Golem, and we'll mix it back into somehow about mythology.
Yeah.
Segue.
You're full of the segues.
I'm really ill. I'm surprised I can even see.
You're surprised you don't need to be able to see for this.
Nah, it's not that integral.
Yeah, so American Gods, that was the other, and we started that actually on the same day that we watched the first two Star Trek Discoveries. That was kind of like a hungover morning, like we're just gonna watch TV.
That was a good night.
And that's another show that's beautiful looking as well.
What, American Gods?
Yeah, like
Jesus
so
Christ,
hyper stylized.
It just looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Other than Star Trek Discovery, I can't think of anything that looks better on TV right now.
But then that's interesting as well about how good TV shows are looking, because like
maybe it's just a Brian Fuller thing.
Yeah, he's got a very distinctive visual style, because he made Hannibal sort of this like
it's like
operatic beautiful thing as well.
It's like he creates pictures for you to describe what it looks like to blind people, so they can really get like. So there's enough stuff there so that you can actually really give a description of something.
Now I want to hear a Brian Fuller show with audio description, because usually audio description will be like, they're walking and there's a forest. Like to really get the effect of these shows, the audio description has to be like, it's fucking beautiful, like look at all the stars and it's amazing, and it's like
maybe don't ever do audio descriptions.
But fuck, I really wish you guys could see. You're missing
Jesus
a lot.
Christ, like this is
just really driving it.
This is top notch. I feel sorry for the blind.
God, thank God I can see.
These eyes ain't even that good, but like seriously,
it's better than nothing. Yeah. So yeah, it's another show that's beautiful. Obviously, it's based off a book by Neil Gaiman.
Don't pronounce it like that. Neil Gaiman. You said it like two separate, like it's hyphenated or something.
Like it's a description. Neil Gaiman. Is that it?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
Who's
like you're not describing him to a blind guy.
He's Neil.
Gay man.
Is he gay? Not as far as I know.
No, he's not. He's got a wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, no.
How old is he?
I don't know.
Because the book came out. The book came out a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because did you read it when it first came out?
Yeah,
because you're old.
Oh, thanks. I was bought it as a gift.
Really?
By my sister, who incidentally is older than I am. I have a niece now.
Really?
Yeah.
Congrats.
She's not older than me.
No, I imagine. I mean, she could be. That does happen.
She looks like Yoda.
Is she human?
Yeah,
she has like a little walking stick and a robe.
She has the robe. My sister posted a picture of her online. I was like, she looks like Yoda. And fortunately, my sister took it in good health. And
yeah,
I was just like, yeah, she does.
Oh, that's cool.
She's like a cute Yoda if Yoda didn't look like a green ball bag. Not saying my niece looks like a ball bag.
Oh, that'd be cool though, because there've got to be people that have done this, like gone to like Comic Cons, dressed as Luke from the Empire Strikes Back.
Why do you pronounce things?
How do you pronounce
like that? Comic Con.
There's two words: Comic Con, Comic Convention.
Yeah, I know it's
Comic Con. That sounds weird.
No, because it's like it's Comic Con, or it's the Comic Convention. But like when it's abbreviated, it's just Comic Con. It's just one word.
Comic Con. Okay, fine. People go to conventions.
People go to Comic Con to see Neil Gaiman.
You're right. I'm speaking like a bad robot. I'm speaking like this is the first time I've actually spoken English.
He wrote the Sandman comic.
The Sandman, yeah.
Yeah, the Sandman.
I haven't read them. Are they any good?
Yeah, I've only read a couple.
Enter Sandman.
He actually wrote a comic that I read when I was in like my PSE PSHE class when I was like 13, 14. It was about a cat that had to dream for a better reality for all cats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How did it go? Did it go well?
Yeah, well, not right. Yeah.
I don't see cats as that selfless.
Well, no, it's because
Dogs would dream of a better reality for all dogs.
Okay,
They'd be like
so-
food for all. Cats would just be like,
so just a
I
little
just
bit
want
of
things. Like
just a little bit of
literally
context.
just want things.
So originally, cats had ruled the world, and people had been tiny, and that. And then basically, enough people started believing in. This is actually kind of a theme in this stuff, isn't it? And enough
Belief.
people started believing in themselves, and one day, the positions just switched. Now, I can't remember. I think there's some sort of like cat god or something that this cat has to go and pray to.
Okay.
But basically, to try and switch the positions back so cats can actually be in a position of power again.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, cats are already in a position of power because, like, you buy a cat so that you can be like, oh yeah, I've got a pet. But in actual fact, you know, the cat's just like, I don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, it's like my cat that moved out when I was younger.
They moved out.
Yeah, he moved out. He hated.
He
didn't
your
like
cat
kids.
moved out
He was,
before you did.
he was older than us. Yeah, no, my cat was way more independent than I was. He just started. We found him. Yeah, he's dead now.
No, I meant like.
I mean, to be fair, I was a kid, but then the cat just moved out. He moved across the street, and eventually he like came back one day, and he'd been like not fully shaved, but like shaved a little bit because he'd been to the vet.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's weird. And then the neighbours came over and were like, we think you've got our cat. And we were like, whoa, we've got whose cat?
Back the fuck up, Skippy.
We were like showing photos, like this is our cat. And they were like, yeah, but he's lived with us for a while. We're like, actually have him. We're moving house anyway. Like,
Have
keep
him.
him.
Don't fucking care anymore.
Yeah. He was a
cat.
real bastard. Holston was his name, named after the beer.
Really?
I didn't name him.
Evidently not. You're a child.
Call the cat beer. That is something a child would do.
Alcoholism runs deep.
Really deep. It's not a lifestyle choice. It's like in the blood at this stage.
Varicose.
Vascular.
Vascular. Whatever.
Vascular.
In the
Yeah.
veins.
So it's interesting actually that Gaiman was using these themes of like cats and gods and belief because there's a few cat characters in American Gods as well. Like in the book at least, and I'm not sure if they've done this bit in the TV show, but in the book, when Shadow is staying with Jackal and Ibis, you know, the two Egyptian gods who run the funeral parlor, who in the show have got this like kind of back and forth buddy comedy thing going on.
Are they Anubis and Thoth?
Yes.
Yeah, so one, hang on, what is it? One, Anubis weighs the heart and is the god of the underworld.
Yeah.
And Ibis is the...
he's the writer,
down.
yeah.
The writer down. The recorder.
Yeah.
The recorder, and is also the Egyptian god of science and mathematics and creativity within scientific...
Yeah.
And knowledge, that's it.
Okay.
Scratch the last part.
And then, because in the book, and again, I don't know if they've done this in the show, because I've only watched 5 or so episodes of the show. But in the book, they have a cat with them. They have a cat. You remember this? And Shadow like has like a sex dream with the cat where she's. That sounds so weird. She's obviously a human in the dream. I swear I'm not making this up.
Or maybe he's a cat. This is Neil Gaiman, remember? So anything happens.
Anything goes. No, she like, and then he wakes up and he
I'm
thinks
stop
it was
making
just a dream.
Gaiman
But
references.
he's gotten clawed. There's cat. It's cat again. And then there's another cat in the book, and I can't remember who it is. Who's the other cat?
I don't remember, mate.
Delicious and fresh.
Cats were a weird thing to worship. I think it's because cats act like they should be worshipped.
It tastes like it's made out of nettles.
I'm sorry.
No, it's just like my cold.
Do you want Lucozade to sponsor us or not?
I do. It's because I've got a cold, so it's like it's good though.
I can't even enjoy your Lucozade.
I know it tastes.
That's the
seriously
worst
like
thing.
Metal
about,
nettles.
Worst thing about having a cold.
Accidental rhyme.
Metal nettles. He's a poet, everyone. But yeah, it's because cats believe in themselves enough. Like, cats are the epitome of like acting for the job you want rather than the job you have. Because the job they have is like cat. Right?
The job they have is cat, but what they actually want to be is like some sort of
God, some kind of ruler. But they just act like they are. Like they just sit there looking all imperious to the humans, and humans are like, "Fuck, I guess that thing must be important." It's the animal equivalent of walking into an area with a high vis jacket and everyone assuming that you're like meant to be there.
I fucking hate those dicks.
Yeah,
Like anyone in a high vis jack is Jack. Why did I abbreviate jacket?
jacket.
Jacket.
You're doing what I'm doing
Yeah,
with
I
my
am.
pronunciations now.
Like longer pauses though. Et. There we go. Finish the sentence.
Jacket.
Jacket. Anyway, so yeah, no, people in a high vis jacket. It's as soon as like you walk into a place and they start speaking to you. Like I was once kicking something down the street. Like there was a bin at the end of the street. I was going to pick it up and put it in the bin. And someone came up to me and was just like, "Do you want to put that in the bin?" And I was like,
Eventually.
I will do, but why is that an issue? Like, in order to put it in the bin, I have to walk past you and put it in the bin. So why are you thinking that I wasn't going to do
that's
that in the
clearly
first
a
place?
case of them, like,
It's like
you were going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a power trip.
It's just like, fuck off. Like,
I hate when
you're just
people do
wearing a high-vis jacket. Like, you might not even work here. Like, I can't guarantee that. It's just dark. Like,
yeah, but then, like, the stereotypical thing is that if you wanted to, like, get behind police lines or whatever, you'd turn up in a high-vis jacket and just start ordering people around.
yeah.
Put that in the bin. Give me that body.
Help me dig a hole. Now give me that body.
Help me dig a hole. That's a good request.
It's what you do when you're on a building site.
Yeah, or anywhere that requires holes.
A dentist.
I wouldn't say dig is the appropriate verb for what they do. More drill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had a hole drilled in me.
Have you not?
That was a weird way.
It was a very peculiar. Never had a hole drilled in me.
I guess I've had a piercing, but that wasn't a
It's
drill.
not drilled, is it?
they take this drill and like mince up your skin with it.
Mince up your skin.
Yeah. No, they just used a needle.
I don't think that's what drills do either. I don't think they mince things.
Oh, they would. They'd turn it around.
Oh, I made up a pun about wood the other day. I think. I'm trying to remember it, obviously. It was something like, I was going to build...
Build? I was going to build a house, but wood was in abundance.
No, I was going to build a house in a tree. Not a tree house. Specifically a house in a tree. But it turns out carpentry is not my strong point. Although, honestly, I thought it would work.
I like that. That's good. That's the kind of content I'm here for. Like, incredibly lame puns. Love it.
Yeah, might use that on stage.
You what?
I should have used that when I was doing those poems about trees.
Oh, I should have. Yeah, that was a thing you did in the past week. That was
actually
after our podcast last week. You went up to uni and did poems under a willow tree and also about a willow tree.
Salix babylonica, the willow tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote about the Helicone and the Willow Muse, which is an ancient Greek muse. But I did it in a neoclassical way.
Ah, linking it back to the word.
Thank
So
you.
how was the gig? I still don't understand what happened. They took you to a tree. Did you walk around several trees?
Yeah, I drank loads of trees. Exactly how that sounds.
What?
I drank loads of trees. I drank birch tree sap.
Oh, what's sap taste like?
It's fucking horrible.
I was expecting to feel like it was quite nice actually. Yeah.
No,
it's awful.
disgusting. It's like apparently it's got like really, really good like health benefits to it, but the fact that I'm ill as shit now kind of probably speaks volumes. But
what does it taste like? I have no like concept for what it would taste like.
it's it's actually kind of difficult to describe.
Is it thick? Is it gloopy?
No, we had it in tea, so like you put the tree sap in water. But I'll tell you what, acorn tea tastes like coffee.
Really?
It's actually quite nice.
That's
like,
so weird.
But it doesn't have that sort of, it doesn't have obviously that caffeine kick to it, but it also doesn't have the it tastes full bodied, which is peculiar. I also drank ash tea.
Right.
Shit as well.
This is us reviewing all the different tree beverages.
Yeah, I
Spoiler, they're all terrible.
Oh,
everything you can drink from a tree is the worst.
No, acorns. Seriously.
But except acorns are good.
What was the other one? I tried some berries from a tree. I can't remember which tree it was specifically, but the berries are like red. Like they come in clumps of.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what they're called.
Horrible. Just horrible.
So were they, as you were walking around doing your poems, were they getting the sap out of the trees as they went, or did they already?
Them. They already had it.
They already had the sap.
Yeah.
Was it from those trees, or they just bought some sap?
Just from that like thing of trees, that genus of trees.
Okay, so they just like ordered it on the internet or something.
Yeah.
They like Amazon Prime some sap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they
that's
Amazon.
Amazon. There's a good pun there actually. You should buy it. On that
I'll work on
it. Now, after 25 minutes,
Should we
so we should probably
start?
summarise what American Gods is for anyone that hasn't seen it, because I feel like part of the reason we do this is because we genuinely want other people to enjoy the shit that we enjoy,
Yeah,
and to avoid the shit that we hate as well.
Fuck the Rick and Morty fan base.
Yeah, but it's a great show.
It's such a great show.
It's so good. It's so well
next
written.
time I should wear my Rick and Morty t-shirt.
You should, or your Star Wars t-shirt. You got a NASA shirt on today.
Yeah, I do have a NASA shirt on today. It's actually a girls' club.
North American Space Americans.
What?
It's not what it stands
That's
for.
not.
But I was initially going to say North American Space Organization, but then I was like, no, that would be
National
NASA.
Aeronautical Space Association.
Oh, so it's not even North American. I prefer North American Space America.
I don't know if that's true. There was an old joke though, like after the one of the Apollo crashes or something, or one of the rocket crashes.
No, who was making this? Was it like the president on TV making
No,
this?
not with this answer. And it was in the I think the early 2000s, and they were like, oh, what does NASA stand for? And it was need another 7 astronauts.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, dog.
Ooh.
Yeah, for real.
Ooh. Well, that's real bad.
Yeah, no, it's not cool. Yeah, no, I think it's National Aeronautical Space Association.
That would make sense. Association was the word I was looking for, not organisation.
North American.
North American Space America.
I really, really wish it was North American.
This is why I
Space
don't name
America.
things, because all my names are like clearly and demonstrably really stupid.
Alex and Alex, we have the same name.
What would the abbreviation for that be?
What
a sa?
You know what?
What a sa?
I inadvertently called the poetry slam that I run is called the Slam in the Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, if you notice carefully, that's TSA.
TC.
Yeah. If you take off the first T, what's that? That's Sex and the City.
Sex and the City. Do you ever get like?
The Sex.
Do you ever get like hen parties showing up, expecting it to be a Sex and the City?
I've only
night?
ever abbreviated it. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do a fucking whole slam on
Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Never watched it. Although I did. You know when the first movie
Carrie's
came
a
out.
writer actually. So
Who's Carrie? Who the fuck?
she's the main character.
Okay, don't care. Okay, I'm not
She's the main character.
Never gonna care about this.
Character?
She's the main character.
Thank you.
Character. No, my Sex and the City story is one time I was in a city and I had sex. No, it's
That's obviously not true. Look at you.
Shut up, man. Fuck you. I hate how me being alone is like now a theme in the podcast. It's not a running joke. It's not a joke. No, I was. Mum was out one night. You can tell this is gonna be fun, and
Please don't make me laugh.
and I was like,
Nothing
I was
really.
younger than I am now because it was in the past, obviously.
Calm down.
and I came downstairs for some reason, I can't remember why, and I walked into the lounge, and Dad was there and he was just ironing and he was watching the Sex and the City movie, and I was like, I feel like I've caught you doing something you don't really want me to see here, and he was like, it's okay actually. Come and watch. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to watch Sex and the City with you while you iron. I think
Was
that's
he just in his pants?
Nah, he wasn't. What was he wearing? Mum's dress. I think he was wearing.
Ball gag. It's not that really.
Sorry if my family listens to this.
They obviously don't.
Ouch.
Do you know what? Right on my book launch, serious thing. Everyone there bought my book apart from my family.
Yeah, they expect a free copy though.
Yeah,
or they don't want to read it.
Well, they ended up getting free copies for birthdays and Christmases.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, American Gods.
Okay, so what it is an adaptation of a book by Neil Gaiman.
Just hate you.
And the book came out like in the past, probably 2002, I think.
You know,
and
I think
the
I've
whole
got a copy.
have you got it? Tell us when it's
No,
published.
I don't have a copy with me. It's one of my exes took it. I've got a copy of Anansi Boys, and that came out
Oh,
afterwards.
I haven't actually read Anansi Boys.
Oh, do you want to borrow it?
Yeah.
It came out afterwards, so we'll be able to work out.
Yeah, so it's the one book. It's quite a big book, and then he's kind of continued the story afterwards with like short stories and novellas. So this one here.
Roddy Doyle said, "I loved it."
Hey, Roddy Doyle's a good author.
I don't know who that is.
He's good. He's funny. He wrote. There was a book about. I read it when I was a kid. My memories of this book are really.
Oh,
there was a
actually,
dog called Rover who I think could talk, or maybe he couldn't. And there was a family, and there was something to do with Christmas.
Yeah.
I like good book. Oh, cool. Yeah, so it's the one book, and it's kind of like a big epic book, and there's lots of different ideas that you could spin out in different ways. And then he's followed it up with like, This Is One and Nancy Boys. So this follows the black girl of Mr. Nancy.
Yeah, yeah.
Who we see in the TV show. They've done a bit differently in the TV show.
Yeah, he looks so not. What? He's how I imagined him, but like when he appeared in the
In the slave ship.
Yeah, in the slave ship in the past. I'm glad I clarified past there for anyone that didn't realise. But yeah, when he appeared in the slave ship, he was still in a contemporary fashion. Which, if I were a slave, seeing the... Oh no, because the way that they saw him as the spider, didn't they?
I don't know. I think that's another thing that the show does quite well. Anyway, the basic theme of the show is that gods are real. All gods that anyone has ever believed in.
If you believe in a god, it becomes real because of your
You
belief.
create it through your belief. and it's set in America because there's that great quote where they say America's the only country that doesn't know what it is. No one ever goes searching for like the heart of Zimbabwe or the soul of Norway. America's the only country that's confused. And the whole idea of it being in America is because all these immigrant peoples brought their gods to the land, and they're kind of competing between the old gods and the new. So the new gods are things like media and the internet, blah, 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 blah. So on the slave ship, they're bringing over this, I guess he's from African folklore.
He is from
I'm not
African
sure,
folklore.
do you know which like part of Africa or which like, is it a particular tribe?
Yes, actually, I saw this the other day. It's, I want to say Ghana.
Yeah.
I think
That would
it's
make
Ghana.
sense. It's Ghana's West Africa, right? I
Yeah.
think it is. That would make sense for the slave. Because I hate how I just did that, where it's like, oh, it's African. You know, that entire continent.
Yeah, that massive.
That entire
massive
continent, which is one culture. No.
That's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm glad that we clarified. Yeah, so he appears on the slave ship because the slaves see the spider, and the spider's how he
Yeah.
portrays himself. And then we, the audience, kind of cut between seeing him as the spider and seeing him as this big kind of fiery, almost like kind of black preacher type. Not like Christian preacher, but more like kind of Malcolm X type.
Well, I don't know. He comes across as like a sort of like a 1920s noir sort of character in the pinstripe
Ooh,
suit.
he's
like,
got that look about him, hasn't
like yeah, it's like a colorized version of what you imagine a 1920s sort of film
I
noir
thought he
character.
kind of looked like the cat off Red Dwarf.
My God, Alex.
Did you not see that?
I know what you
The
mean.
cool
it's,
cat?
it's because he's really sharp. It's really sharp.
Yeah,
He
sharp
wears,
dress.
wears a lot of like purple and
Yeah, exactly. It's the purple.
Yeah. I sort of see what you mean.
Yeah. So this book, actually, is this a full? I didn't expect this to be a full-length book.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Is it any good?
Yeah, no. Well, everything that he writes is really good.
Yeah,
So.
cool. I'll follow it up because he
Apart from his poetry, his poetry sucks.
does it.
Yeah, I thought it was. I think I've got another one up here, provided another X hasn't nicked that, or possibly the same X. No, it's. Wow, what the fuck happened to all my books? I guess
Burn them to keep warm.
no, definitely not. I'd rather just be cold. Yeah, no, it's. I think it's in. I want to say trigger warning, which. Yeah, I think it's trigger warning has his poetry in it, or their short stories. I can't remember which, but it might be short stories. It might be an amalgamation of the two.
So that's interesting because have you read? He followed up the next time that we see Shadow again in his work is like a short story, kind of a novella called the Monarch of the Glen, set in Scotland.
I don't think I've read that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting as well. And that kind of goes more into away from just gods, because the TV show obviously has like, and the book as well has creatures like the djinn. Matt Sweeney's a leprechaun.
So I found out a little bit about the djinn because I posted something on Facebook about it, and I called the djinn a genie.
No, he doesn't grant wishes.
No, but and I ended up getting like a bollocking from a load of people that either like know quite well or barely know, right?
I like that.
There was no in between.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought you were saying you weren't sure if you know them quite well or barely.
no, there was
Like, either I know them well or we've never met. I'm not sure which, and it's too late to ask.
no. One of them's a friend of mine that was just like, oh, it's not a genie, it's a djinn, and then like kicked off about it. And then someone else was just like, someone that I didn't know at all, explained the difference to me.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're both wrong, which makes me really happy. So a genie is just an anglicised version of the word jinn. So, and then within the idea of jinn, there are 5 different subcategories, and even though they're perceived as being demonic, they're not actually bad. They're just a different life force to humans. So there's 3 different basically in the, I believe it's in Arabic culture, which don't hold me to that.
No, it is because he references Ubar, which is the lost city around with the pillars in the Rub al Khali desert, which is on the Arabian Peninsula. So
Okay.
Arabic.
Jesus Christ, well done.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I've cobbled that knowledge together from American Gods, little bit of research, tiny amount of geography, and the video game Uncharted 3.
the backs of Shreddy's packets.
That's how I get all my history. I've done 2 degrees in it and
Pan
never read a
Nintendo.
book. It was all those vouchers you used to get on cornflakes packets.
25p off like books for schools. Anyway, but yeah, so there's 3 different types of life force. There are humans, there are angels, and there are jinn. And jinn was just genie is just the anglicised version of jinn. And then part of the jinn is there are 5 subcategories of that, I believe. And one of them is the ifrit.
Yeah, because he refers to him as an ifrit as well.
Yeah, is it ifrit or efrit?
I think it's IFRIT. I'm not sure on the correct
Because
pronunciation.
there's another one that's like EFREET.
Oh, really? Maybe that might. I mean, remember
That might be
Arabic
an
uses a
Anglicized.
different alphabet.
Yeah.
That's why there are like so many different spellings of Gaddafi or Al Qaeda or something, because we put them in our own. We just kind of try and approximate the sounds.
Yeah.
So it might be that if and Ifra are the same thing.
Possibly. Yeah. So, and they're the ones that look the most demonic, and are the ones that are the most likely to punish people for doing wrongdoings.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're not inherently bad. They're not like all evil. They also have like fire coming out their eyes, which is why in the TV series, obviously the chap has fire coming out his eyes, and it shows that like if you don't have to be a god as such to live in the American god sort of pantheon, I suppose.
Mm.
And that's because as long as somebody believes in you and believes that you're still real, then that's where you live. That's where you exist.
Yeah.
So the fact that like this Ifrit is now travelling around driving cars because he's fallen on bad times, hard luck, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then
Because that's the other. That's
massive Willy.
Yeah. Actually, can we talk about dicks in American gods?
Yeah, they come up quite a lot.
Yes, they do. And so I think it's in the same episode, and the books also have quite a lot of sex in them, or like the one book.
Oh, the name.
Huh?
Nothing.
But in the
edit that
TV
bit
show, in the TV show, there's that episode where and it's a scene that's not in the book. So Shadow, the main character, spoilers, gets out of prison at the start. He's gonna like, I'm gonna go back to my wife, and it's gonna be lovely.
Me wife.
Yeah, because he's a chimney sweep. I'm gonna go back to my wife, and it's gonna be great. Ooh, jolly. And then his wife's dead, and
Boom, dead
yeah,
wife.
and he finds out that she died sucking his best friend's cock in a car. Not really his best friend, I guess. Not a good friend.
No. Well, if you didn't know any better, like, because a best friend is someone that like I could refer to you as my best friend, and you could be my best friend, but even if you're doing terrible things, because I wouldn't know any better.
Yeah, maybe.
So-
Okay. Anyway, and then he goes back to her house and he's like
Sorry,
sorting
can
through
we
her
just
belongings.
interject? We're not friends.
Oh no, aren't we?
No.
Oh.
We just have the same name.
That's it. It's pure coincidence.
Yeah. Fortuitous.
So he goes back to his girlfriend, to Laura's house, and he's going through her phone, and he sees a dick pic, and it's like distractingly massive.
It is. It's like particularly veiny.
It's this huge dick, and I like.
I mean, the phone's like this big, so
It just takes over the whole screen. It's this giant dick, and then he's clearly playing on his mind. And he turns and looks at a photo of him and his girlfriend, and it just turns into the dick pic.
yeah.
And it's like, and then in that same episode, we see the guy that this is all spoilers all the time. That's our tagline.
Maybe that should be that's our tagline. Alex and Alex, we have the same name. All spoilers all the time.
Lucas
Maybe
Aid's great.
sometimes talk about content.
So the sex goddess who Bilquis, who apparently the camera believes is based on Kali. Is that right? Yeah. So she swallows
Did you say
a guy.
the camera?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if we're supposed to acknowledge Ron's
Is that should be the point at which the camera nods? Does the camera nod? Okay.
Oh, that's going to really freak people out when they're watching. They're like, whoa!
It's like I'm on a roller coaster. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me.
Illness.
Yeah.
So, like, she swallows the guy into her vagina in the first scene when he starts worshipping her.
Just to clarify, give a little bit of context because that's a weird thing to say.
So that she's clearly like a sex goddess, and I mean the show, to its credit, I think, and the book as well, doesn't really explain much. Like it just kind of drops you into the deep end, and you're like, what am I looking at? And you kind of find out as Shadow finds out.
Yeah, which I think that's a really nice touch.
Yeah, but her thing is she's like a sex goddess. She wants people to worship them, and then she kind of consumes them.
She's not a sex goddess, though, is she? She's a goddess of fertility, love, and women. I want to say, and the way that people worship her is not by having sex with her; it's by having sex in general and professing their love to each other.
Okay.
But as time has gone on, she's like in the book she's portrayed as a prostitute, I believe.
Yeah, she is. Whereas in the TV show, she's like online dating.
Yeah, well, it's not just online. It's like people that you meet in bars and stuff like that. It's just like, so there's no...
bloody hookup culture, mate.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Everywhere these days.
She exists because Tinder is real.
Yeah, I like that.
Thanks. I'm surprised they didn't do that, actually. Probably can't have Tinder in the...
Yeah, they probably can't use the brand. Anyway, shifting back to dicks. Because we see inside, I guess inside her, and it's this kind of like weird black void, and we see the guy that she had slept with before, and this disembodied dick just floats past.
Oh yeah.
Another big dick. And then in the same episode, when the Middle Eastern guy has come to America and he's trying to like get into business and it's going bad for him.
He admits that he sells shit and everything about his life is terrible.
Yeah.
And that's how they bond.
Yeah, he bonds with the Jinn, who's also on hard times.
Oh, but they also both speak the same language. And the
Yeah.
Jinn starts commenting on the ancient city.
Uber.
I just wanted to say some stuff.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah, thanks.
And they sleep together as well. And I thought that was actually quite a nice tender scene. It was done like... It was quite well done.
Yeah, it's nice that like in American Gods it doesn't shy away from anything. There's like it doesn't shy away from sex, it doesn't shy away from violence, but it doesn't use either in a gratuitous manner. So
yeah, because it's almost so stylized that it's not. It's like not pornographic because it's so aesthetic. It's so like artistic. Yeah, I see that. Anyway.
Yeah.
And the Jinn has a huge dick. And this is like This is like
that you're going on about like.
I think it was notable.
Are you straight? The lady doth protest too much.
I'm not protesting. I'm just pointing out there are a lot of big dicks in American Gods.
Also, that's a terrible phrase that I've got to stop using.
The lady doth protest too much. Yeah, it's a bit. It's one of those ones that's a bit forced. It's hard to just chuck out.
Well, no, I just meant because of what it means.
Oh yeah, no, the implications.
Like, yeah. Well,
because of the implications. That is
What's that?
It's always sunny, yeah. That's like one of the few words I know.
What does Dennis stand for again? I remember the last one is separate.
I can't remember.
I'll check it out.
So yeah, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I think sex is definitely a theme because, and this comes through in the book as well. If I was to say why they're doing all these big dicks, partly because it's like a very arresting visual, like the whole show, as we just discussed, the violence and the sex is all pornographic. But partly also I think because the show deals with the kind of darker sides of worship and ritual behaviour.
Yeah.
And rituals are all about sex and death.
And it becomes a lot more animalistic, which is like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Totemic?
Like a totem.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all very symbolic. Because all the gods are kind of, they're very much portrayed as like not nice people, which is interesting because the new gods just kind of take your time and attention.
Yeah.
Whereas they're kind of sapping things in a slower way. Whereas the old gods are all about,
blood
sex and death. Yeah, blood sacrifices.
But I suppose it's because that's what they would know about. I mean, because all the new gods are things like technology. There's Mr. World. There's whatever the new guy is called, the young one, Mr.
Technical boy.
Yeah, Media Man.
So Gillian Anderson plays Media.
Hold up. Do you reckon that was? We're gonna take a break.
Break time. When we come back, we will get back to discussing American Gods, and we'll discuss the meaning of the use of mythology and the meaning of this conflict between the old gods and the new. Right now, I have a tiny bladder. I need a pee. Bush has a significantly larger bladder, but also
It's really small. It's like the size of a pea.
He's checked.
I'm a little bit worried that I actually have diabetes.
I pee a lot.
I pee so much.
I pee a lot.
Like so much.
I always say when I'm in a pub, I don't buy the booze. I only rent it. right back in. Oh, didn't see you there. American Gods. It's a great show. We can all agree based on a book. We've kind of covered like what it's about.
Dude, don't tap the thing.
No, I think it's we were going to talk about this kind of conflict between this idea of the old gods and the new gods. I keep kicking shit. This is really annoying. And I think one thing that kind of came out that we were kind of chatting about in our preparation for this podcast, because we do in fact prepare. We just prepare while we're on a break in the middle of recording. One thing that came out was the kind of difference in what kind of sacrifices are required between the old gods and the new. And sacrifice in the old gods is taken in a very literal sense. It's a blood sacrifice. It's sex and death, like we said. Whereas the new gods...
Why did you say that so like sex and death?
Sex and death, I like saying it. Whereas the new gods, it's more a case of sacrificing... Oh, just fired. It's more a case of sacrificing your time. And obviously when the book came out, the internet character, Technical Boy, was very different. He was like kind of a fat, sweaty neckbeard type.
It was exactly what you imagine the creators of Dungeons and Dragons to still look like. I just called them Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Dragging the dungeons around. Whereas now they make him this kind of like vaping tech bro sort of guy, and he's like really insufferable. But I thought it was interesting the way that the new gods are like... They have much less power, it seems. Like, even though they're more important to everyday life, they're kind of hanging on by a thread. Because there's no major big sacrifices. It's not like I'm going to go out and bloody throw a baby in a volcano so that I get my iPhone. Like, it's more like I'm just going to spend all my time on it and keep doing it. And they kind of get their power from this, like, less meaningful, more meaningless Tautology Club.
I love tautology.
First rule of Tautology Club
It's
is the first rule of Tautology Club. Hi-oh.
Can we make hi-oh a thing?
Yeah, everything's a thing. Yeah, the difference is in terms of sacrifice. So one way that they did really good that wasn't in the book was in the 5th episode where they have Vulcan, he's like the Roman god of war, right?
Yeah.
Or is that Mars?
No,
Or is he
Vulcan.
kind of the same guy?
Yeah, same person. Mars is the planet and the chocolate bar, and Vulcan is the planet in Star Trek Discovery.
Neither of which are related to each other. But they have that whole scene at the opening where you see the people coming across the water and they have Mexican Jesus. The Mexican border troops come across and then they all get shot down by the border patrol. Very timely, very relevant. And all the bullets are labelled Vulcan. Later on in the episode, we go to this town where I think it's like every year someone falls into the forge, the weapon making thing. And that's kind of the crucial sacrifice. But then the rest of the time it's all like basically people that are killed with his bullets are counted as sacrifices towards him. And so he's kind of gone in with the new gods to kind of take this blood sacrifice and make it into a more modern way. And I thought that tied in pretty well with what Mr. World was proposing to Wednesday in the previous episode. You know where
Can
he
you please
says,
explain who Mr. World is?
oh yeah, so Mr. World's, he's kind of like the leader of the new gods, isn't he? And it's he's
Mr.
like
Globalization.
yeah, Mr. Global interconnectedness.
He would be Pitbull if he was a
Or just shouting the names of countries.
just Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. They should have got Pitbull to play him.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything that it was. If anything, it was a bad casting decision not to ask Pitbull to play Mr.
Yeah,
World.
but Crispin Glover, who's that?
I mean,
I bet he hasn't even got one club smash, let alone
Club Smash.
Yeah, Pitbull's
He's
full of
not the
club
Hulk.
smashes. No, like a club banger, still sounds like the Hulk, doesn't it? He's just going around with a big old club.
Club banger.
Dance!
Sounds like Luke Cage.
Good reference.
He was also
We
in
can talk about the Netflix Marvel series or something.
yeah, definitely. He was also played Mr. What's it called? Mr. Thin in Charlie's Angels.
Who did?
Crispin.
Pitbull.
No, Crispin.
Oh, Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Charlie's Angels.
Oh right.
The movies, the new
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah,
It's not really a new one. It came out like 2002.
that's new.
It's not really, is it?
Compared to the original, which was like the 1960s. Was it? I'm starting to
off
think
on
I'm
this
thinking
one.
of the wrong thing.
Yeah, but do you reckon he only plays characters if their first name is Mister?
Yes.
Delicious and fresh.
That's good to know.
And if you think we're wrong, don't say anything to us. We don't want to hear it. We
Should
only
I-
want to hear praise. We don't want to hear disagreement. That's not what we're here for. Yeah. So
Should I Google it?
does Crispin Glover only play characters called Mister?
Yeah.
How?
Okay, Google. Does Crispin Glover only play? That's fucked it. Does Chris? Didn't even come up with what I was looking for.
Brilliant. Right.
Okay, Google. Does Kristen Glover only play characters if their first name is Mister? It came up with does Christine Orlova. So I can tell you about Torval and Dean, or The Grinder, or Knocks Over Street, but I can't tell you about anything that I just asked. I'll just Google it normally, instead of being a wanker.
So anyway, Mr. Worldwide, Pitbull, is kind of trying to make a deal with Wednesday, and this also wasn't in the book. Trying to be like, oh, get him on your side, and they want to make him into like a Valhalla missile or something, blow up North Korea. That's their pitch.
Yeah, no, they
Kind of combining the technology with the death.
So it would be called Odin. That was the fucking spoilers there, mate.
I don't think it's a spoiler. Like, I think anyone who knows enough about Odin for that to be a spoiler would also have picked up that he's clearly Odin.
Crispin's middle name is Hellion.
God, you thought Crispin was bad.
Crispin Helen Glover. Or Glover.
He's related
Jesus
to
Christ, he also
Danny
plays a
Glover.
character called Mr. Nice.
In what?
I don't know, I'm just checking out his Wikipedia.
Imagine being his contract agent, like his negotiator. About, oh yeah, we see you've got this role. It's like, yeah, it's a really good film, and it will win an Oscar finally.
You were playing Secretariat.
Who's he playing?
Secretariat.
It's like, yeah, no, Crispin won't do it. I know, he only plays characters called Mister. and you'd have to rewrite the entire script, and no one's allowed to. He's not allowed to have a first name.
Yeah, it's just Mr. Secretariat.
Mr. Secretary.
He's a BoJack quotes.
Well, references. I mean, a cookie as well. For those people that aren't watching.
Oh, he's a director and screenwriter as well as recording artist. Oh my god, that means
I really want to hear his record. That means he's Pitbull.
maybe he is Pitbull.
Don't know he's not.
We're not gonna have another podcast after this because the CIA are just gonna come like.
So how did you know? Like that's the one thing they're trying to keep secret.
Yeah.
That and the fact that the Earth is flat.
His father was called Bruce Glover. Oh, and he played George McFly, so that totally ruins our.
Mr. McFly.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. And Lane.
Do you want to
Ruben Farr.
put the phone away and get back to the conversation?
We are having a conversation. Just about Hellion Glover.
Hellion Glover.
I
Yeah.
think I actually love that name, you know. Don't touch that. You don't want people knowing that there are people here.
That's true. They will be trying to get the
There will be
podcast
war.
before it's out officially,
Yeah.
which we can't have.
No. There will be Odin missiles everywhere. So
Odin missiles. Yeah, so we're back to it, and it's this combination of combining the sort of death sacrifices with the new ones, trying to make a sort of synthesis of the old gods and the new.
Symbiosis.
Yeah, one or the other, man.
Wait,
Right.
It's not a synthesis, is
It
it?
is a synthesis. That's what synthesis means.
No.
Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Hegelian dialectics, isn't it?
Schooled the poet, motherfucker!
Screw my butt.
You're not thinking of the quick maths.
Quick maths. 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths. That reference will really date this podcast.
Yeah,
if
so much.
anyone is still listening after we've claimed we're going to talk about American
Well,
gods.
we just quoted Pitbull, like
Yeah, that's true.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. No, it's not even how Pitbull
No,
sounds.
it's
Where's
not.
he from?
I don't know. Let's go with Puerto Rico.
I think he's from Miami.
Oh.
Close enough.
Yeah, well, he's Mr. Worldwide.
He's from everywhere. He's Mr. World. 'Cause
Globalization.
but like you were going to talk about this Moloch.
Yeah.
Algo thing, and that's like a classic old god, right? And what were the
Sort of.
sacrifices with him? What was his deal?
So
He's in the Bible, is he?
yeah, he's in a lot of things, but it's weird. He's also
He's a cameo in the Bible.
cameo in the Bible. No, he's portrayed as an owl, but in the Bible he's a bull, or she's a bull. I don't really know. But so Moloch is. Have you ever heard of Bohemian Grove?
No.
Right. Well, glad we've all done some research on this. So Bohemian Grove is a place that.
Is it like Biker Grove?
God, I wish it was like Biker Grove.
Biker Grove. But it's that with Bohemians.
No, actually, it's where people used to sacrifice.
Bohemians?
No, well, maybe.
Bikers.
No, stop saying bikers.
Grove.
No, it's where they used to sacrifice, like, people and virgins and shit to.
As if the two separate categories, people and virgins. Like virgins aren't people. They're entirely separate things. So they sacrifice people and virgins.
Yeah. Anyway, so they used to sacrifice. Did you notice me just completely ignore his like whatever, Alex? I said that with such like vehement disgust.
Ouch.
Alex, fuck you, Alex.
I kind of wish we were still talking about the sacrifices.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, so the sacrifices on they sacrificed various people and virgins to I think Moloch the owl god to help them be more creative and stuff. But now it's just Bohemian Grove is just a place that rich white men in America go. To
Oh, it's a
blow-
real place?
Yeah, it's a real place to blow off steam. Like just like presidents go there.
Okay, so they must have named it.
commanders in chief, same person. I'm being
Virgins.
Donald Trump.
Go there as well.
The Virgin Islands. I met their president the other day.
What, Donald Trump?
Yeah, did you not see that?
No, yeah, no, wasn't it? He claimed to meet the president of the Virgin Islands.
It's like you're the president of the Virgin Islands, you fucking absolute thunder cunt.
Oh, got him.
The only thing that rhymes with Trump properly is cunt, if you're English anyway.
Doesn't even rhyme.
Yeah, Trump.
Trunt.
No, Trump and cunt. You just
That's
got
not
the
a full rhyme.
No, of course it's not. It's a feminine rhyme.
Bloody poetry police are going to be coming for you, knocking down your door.
Oh, fuck them.
And the J. Michael Straczynski police.
Did
Who are the regular police
The,
again?
one, the,
It's
wonderful,
the same people.
the wonderful thing about the poetry police is you can always tell it's them when they knock on your door because it's 5 raps, then it's 7 raps, and then it's another 5 raps.
Haikus.
Yeah.
Got the reference. Was it you that posted the limerick that's a haiku?
Probably not.
Oh, that was funny.
No,
I saw it. It was
I
like,
reposted.
oh,
it,
you
didn't I?
reposted
Yeah.
it. Memes.
Yeah, so
So-
Moloch.
Yeah.
So Moloch's just like weird owl god, and the more I looked into it, the more I did a bit of research into it. Nobody knows what it is.
Yeah.
But it comes from the ancient. It was first seen in the ancient Babylonian and Akkadian during the basin of creation, civilization. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that general area. So we're talking like Mesopotamia and stuff.
Yeah.
So and that's where the idea of it originated from, and then in some places Ishtar is related back to
And
Moloch.
that's Easter.
Well, actually, no. Everyone thinks that Ishtar is where we get the name Easter from.
Because that's in the book, and is that in the TV series as well?
Yeah, 'cause you're not that far, are you?
No, I'm not that far in TVs, but I've read the book, so
Yeah, so
spoil away.
Easter's in it.
Spoiler, man. I didn't mean like that. Steady on.
There's also about 13 renditions of Jesus.
Yeah, so we've seen Mexican Jesus already.
Yeah, you see regular Jesus.
What do you mean regular?
Or Rega J's.
Rega Jays.
Yeah, that's...
What do you mean regular? White Jesus?
Yeah, white Jesus.
He's not that regular. I feel like he's kind of an irregular. White Jesus is doing well though, eh?
Yeah, white Jesus is like...
Because I guess he's... But then what does he feed on? Just general sort of worship?
Well, yeah, it's because
there
basically...
isn't that much sacrifice.
The idea of... Well, because it doesn't need to be sacrifice necessarily, it just needs to be belief.
Right.
So with the Odin missiles, for example, I don't know how we got from an owl god into Odin missiles. Oh well. Segue. Anyway, yeah, so from the...
I like how you're getting like less and less enthusiastic, like more and more disillusioned each time you say segue. Segue, I guess. That was fine. So we're talking about white Jesus and missiles.
Yeah, so... God, that sounds like a dark subject, doesn't it? I mean, out of context.
Or like a sitcom.
White Jesus.
White Jesus and the missiles.
I kind of wish that's what...
Missiles, you haven't cleaned up. You haven't swept the room.
White Jesus!
And the missiles.
One's killing people, the other one's bringing them back.
But who knows which is which? No, it's the missiles that kill people.
Obviously.
Yeah. That was a short-lived mystery in the TV series. It lasted about 5 minutes.
It's like the Rick and Morty short mysteries, isn't it?
Another quick mystery.
That's it.
That one was really quick.
I stabbed him. Oh.
I'm the murderer and cuff me, please.
Here is the knife. Anyway, so so the Odin missiles, that they're a blood sacrifice, but because they're called Odin, that's the thing that makes people believe in them. So just to clarify, you don't actually need to be the thing that represents... Sorry, are you done?
Just keep talking.
Okay. You don't need to actually be the thing that represents you. So, like, if you're Odin, for example, you don't need to be revered as the...
Like, you don't need people, like, carving you out of wood and nailing people to trees. It just needs to be your name attached to it. Yeah. But then, that's the thing in the book, right, with Easter. Because he goes to pick up Easter in, like, San Francisco. And she's like, everyone worships Easter. Everyone's all about Easter. Look at all these San Franciscans. They're all pagans. And then Wednesday's like, he asks the waitress, he's like, what do you know about Easter? Who do you worship? What's your sort of like thing? And she's like, I don't do any of that. And he's like, see, this is all hollow. This isn't real worship.
Yeah, it's because it's all related to Jesus, and the reason that they believe in Easter at all is because Jesus just happened to die.
To co-opt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another thing is.
But she's got some fucking mad powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she because the whole idea is that they. What the fuck am I saying? Oh yeah, so the whole idea is that they get Easter on their side, so that Easter will end all of the food. They will just like basically.
Oh, they won't be able to like have like produce anything because it's fertility and rebirth and all.
Exactly, because the new gods, they're they're incredibly shallow gods for all intents and purposes. They only exist because people need something to free their time with. Whereas the old gods, they are things like fertility and I was going to say shepherding. I have no idea why, but like horticulture and agriculture.
But it's a different sort of life, isn't it? Because we mostly for our lives we're kind of lucky enough to live in this period of human history where we basically just fill our time and try not to die, like and like try and acquire,
we don't really have to
acquire and maintain property and food and eat the food and then not die. Whereas I guess that was a much more real daily struggle for people in the past, which is why all these tribal mythologies are so much more intense. They're like, we need, you need the sun to rise, and obviously you need the sun to rise. You need like a good harvest or something like that. Whereas we're kind of distanced from that like active survival thing. Yeah. What
I was going to say about the new gods is that if you take away the fundamental needs like food and water and shelter and things like that, then people will stop believing in them because they'll allocate their time differently. So they'll start obviously concentrating on trying to like fertilize the land and cultivate.
So is that part of the plan in the TV show?
From what I can gather, yeah.
Cool, I like that.
Or I've just given them a really good way
Well, giving him a good idea.
Yeah.
If
Brian
you're listening,
Fuller?
Brian Fuller.
Yeah.
Oh man, he could be the other guy we stalk.
I'm gonna start following him on Twitter.
I'm gonna start following him down the street to his house. I'm sure
I'm
he's
just
a
gonna
nice
wait
house.
in his sock drawer.
It's an incredibly large drawer. Man has a lot of socks.
I'm actually really small.
Yeah, you can't see in the camera because there's no comparison. But this is all like a doll's house. This is all really small, and we're like 6 inches tall each. But because there's no comparison, you can't see. That's how we do it.
Incidentally, Rowan's regular size. So you know when we were talking about giant dicks earlier,
That was
when he's jacking off, it's like
it's like the monolith of Space 2001. Space Odyssey. It was like
monolithic.
Yes, that too.
Thank you.
No, we were. You need words for nourishment. Words are your worship.
Yes, Straczynski has not tweeted me back.
He hasn't tweeted you back. What did you say to him?
We mention you every weekly on our podcast. Can you please give us a quote?
Every week, so twice.
Shut up.
No, we'll get one out of him eventually. But this was another thing I was going to.
I also
Hashtag
hero.
Hashtag hero. Love it. This is another thing we were going to talk. I was going to bring up was this like use of mythology, not just in pop culture, but like certain types of Christianity are so interesting like this. Like obviously co-opting the sort of Christmas and Easter holidays, the kind of the pagan events. Like you have a festival in the winter because presumably, I guess it's like
Yeah, which
winter
one's Brian
sucks.
Fuller?
With a Y.
Oh.
Brywan.
Brian.
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 Why is he Welsh?
I'm Brian. So I was thinking, in the TV show, I'd be really interested if they did something with Christmas, like with American gods, with this idea of Christmas. 'Cause obviously, that's going to be when white Jesus is like having a great time. Probably the consumerist gods are going to be having a great time. But it's like,
I'm guessing it's not that Brian Fuller, because he's not a taxidermist.
no, he says those are all his hashtags. Those are all his shows, aren't they? Has he got
yeah.
tech? Yeah.
Should-
No,
what?
that's him. Maybe
What?
he's a taxidermist in his spare time.
Taxidermy friendly animal lover. Okay, so I didn't actually read what it said. I just saw taxidermy,
Yeah.
and he does have 147,000 followers.
Yeah, that'll be him.
That's only 148,000 more than. Oh, that's so many more than me. That's more than
Only 100. He has 100. Do you have minus 1,000 followers? You have people actively flocking away from you.
You've heard what we create.
We
right?
have followers, and we also have people that flee us.
Hey, so
But yeah, it's like, you know, if you like look at sort of forms of Catholicism where they have all the saints, where they've very clearly been like, there's one God, and people are like, yeah, but can we keep this like?
do you mean like the Jesus Chainsaw Massacre?
What?
The Jesus Chainsaw Massacre.
What's that?
The Passion of the Christ.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Pretty much the same
I
thing,
mean, there's this whole pantheon of saints, especially in Catholicism, and then if you look at like how Christianity is expressed in Mexico, the Virgin Mary is a really important figure, and that's clearly like pagan traditions that the church has just gone like, oh, fine. They've been like, there's one God and he has a son and it's the same guy, and they're like, yeah, but we've been praying to this guy for ages and he like gives us good luck when we travel. They're like, fine, you can keep him.
Yeah, well, that's
He's a saint, but he's the only one. And they're like, well, what about this guy?
Well, no,
who's-
'cause the saint. Do
Yeah.
you not actually know anything about Christian?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, yes, it's saints are anointed by. They're given power by God.
But that's
So it's not
clearly,
by
but
the
that's
church.
clearly co-opting. That's the church has said.
Well, no,
they've gone
saints,
into.
'cause
They've
these
like,
saints were created after
No.
the Christian Revolution.
they're like readaptations of existing worship things, existing gods. Like a lot of the worship
What's
is
Saint
idolatry.
Christopher?
What was Saint Christopher do?
He's the one of travelling. He's the one that gives you good luck when you travel. I
Oh,
thought
that
that.
explains why that pub was called Saint Christopher's Inn. Yeah, but what I mean is that
Completely
explains so
unrelated.
much. But no, what I mean is that these people were already quite clearly having, you know, they were doing their worship in their own ways.
Well, yeah,
They would have been
you're talking
worshipping,
about pagan. Well,
Yeah.
even.
but it's kind of bolting
Pre-pagan.
Christianity onto a pagan symbolism.
Well, some of it is, but some of it isn't. I mean, like things like saints and stuff. I don't think that is.
That'd
I mean, if
be-
the saints were things like Saint Tree,
Saint Tree.
like obviously in a druidic sense.
No, I reckon there would be spirits that have gone. It'd be interesting to see the history. I guess neither.
I
of us
guess
have
look at
done
the fucking
research.
Christian calendar, like the days of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, Wednesday being Odin, Thursday, Thursday, Friday, can't remember
Freya.
what it is. Freya, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday is actually Saturn. Which
Is it?
Yeah, it's to do with.
Because it's all.
That's Roman though. That one.
Yeah, I guess. Well, because the Romans like basically just took the Greek mythology and changed the names, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty
And then
much.
they converted to Christianity, which is weird. They must like. I'm not good on ancient history. I only really know like modern and a bit of early modern.
It's called classical history. Anyway, but it's interesting how much of like classical history is believed. That was me moving on the chair, not me falling. Listen. Anyway, it's
Get
interesting.
on there. You enjoy yourself. Chair noises.
Alex and Alex, chair noises. It's interesting how much of classical mythology is actually repeated in various different places around the world. Places that were supposedly don't have any sort of
any kind of link. Well, there's this argument that it's like certain types of story are like so compelling that they'll just come out everywhere. So you can draw a pretty clear line from like, I forget who it is in Egyptian mythology, but it's the same way that, you know, Moses was like this kind of orphan child sent away and then became, you know, an enlightened
Isn't that
figure.
isn't that in Egypt?
Yeah, well, there's
Like
Superman.
Moses.
No, but before
You
Moses
said there's
was-
Superman.
Yeah, no, Superman's the same myth. It's the same mythology. Same guy.
What?
Oh, it's not the same guy. It's the same myth. It's the same core story.
Well, they are both
incredibly like special. Is Superman Jewish?
Yeah, he was created by 2 Jewish guys.
That doesn't mean he's Jewish.
Yeah, he's definitely Jewish. He was created as a...
Mate, we never see him go to synagogue.
No, you
Clark
don't.
Kent going. He's like a Woody Allen type character.
Why did you have to stereotype him like that?
Because it was funny. Oh no, now I feel bad. It's like the same archetypal story of like incredibly powerful, important baby sent away into like a not so important place, learns compassion, becomes like a light and a leader for the people.
Yeah, I never saw
The same-
Moses with heat vision, though.
Yeah, obviously the specifics are different.
But that's like saying any story is the same story.
No, I mean there are archetypes that crop up.
Yeah, that's because there's only ever 7 types of story.
Oh yeah, this is what's the name of the guy? There's Joseph Campbell who wrote the Hero's Journey.
The hero's journey is like...
Which Dan Harmon follows to a T.
Yeah. I just agree with you. I have no idea why, though.
So yeah, the Hero's Journey is the stereotypical...
Journey of the hero, yep.
Yeah, well, it's like the story archetype where character wants something, goes out looking for it, is changed in the kind of underworld bit, and returns different and finds out, you know, at some point they find out what they wanted wasn't what they really wanted. And it's everywhere. It's in like Star Wars and all the rest of it. And Dan Harmon famously...
Well, Star Wars is just Jesus in space.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not science fiction so much as it is fantasy.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I can't believe I just nearly... We're going to edit this part out as well.
Yeah.
We've got to. It's Jesus in space with Chewbacca.
Yeah, we'll probably edit out the more controversial Jew stuff.
Please.
Yeah, so have you never seen like Dan Harmon's story wheel that he has? And he says that he kind of fits every, like Rick and Morty, for example, every episode of that goes into it, where he's got like, I think it's 6 points.
5 points.
Yeah,
No, it's a 5-point triangle. And then each one of
a
those...
5-point triangle, a pentagon.
I mean, it's like a triangle.
I thought he did it as a circle, but yeah.
No, it's a triangle, and then along the things there's 5 different points. So there's obviously beginning and conclusion, and there's the middle point, which is
Yeah.
yeah.
So every story
then
follows this kind of mythology.
Yeah, and each one of those sections is broken down into its own 5 sections.
Oh, okay, that's a slightly different one. I think I might have seen the simplified version then, where it's like a wheel, and he just like numbers it, and he says, in this, 1, you have a character in a setting, 2, they want something, 3, they go out looking for it, etc.
So yeah, what is it? Something like journey, problem. I don't think.
Search. I think search.
Yeah, obstacle, something, conclusion.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And this kind of architecture of stories work. So I guess there's a certain thing, like all stories we tell ourselves have to fit. Well, not all of them. Like there are clearly stories that like intentionally break that mold. And
Yeah, but most of those are bollocks though.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, maybe that was J. Michael.
That was my phone.
Maybe it was J. Michael.
What, you think he's giving me a phone call?
Could be. It was not J. Michael.
You're on first. Is that even first name terms?
First name.
It's first letter,
Yeah.
then middle name terms.
Straczynski is a hard word to say when you have a cold.
Oh, it's hard to spell.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I'm really glad it came up before I actually had to like try and hazard typing that into Twitter.
I wonder where it's from, that name.
Sounds Polish.
Yeah, I reckon Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
We'll ask him
Yeah.
when
Well,
we have him as a guest.
Can you imagine if that happened?
So cool.
That would be insane.
So cool. I'm trying to think if we actually have. We've kind of just talked around American Gods and kind of rambled a bit. Like, is there anything else of like real note that we have specifically to say about it? Because we've kind of touched on mythology and how certain types of stories are repeated and retold.
And how it looks good.
It looks fantastic.
Do you know what? Right. Even though I'll tell you what, I've got an important point. Even though I've read the book and I've seen the entire series, I don't really know what's going on. Like and I think that's an important thing to say that unless you are like a die-hard Gaiman fan, or you've read American Gods a few times,
A gay fan.
that'll get cut. A gay man fan, that'll
Anyway,
get
go
cut.
on. Go on with what you're saying.
Yeah, so even if unless you're like a die-hard fan, I don't think you're gonna know what's going on. Like it's not got a perfect rating on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but
I think that's important to note because like the story is incredible, but only if you know what's already happening. I mean, if I just had to follow this first time I've ever seen it, I'd have no fucking clue what's going on.
But then I got that from the book, and like I think probably the first third of the book is quite slow going because you're reading it and it doesn't explain. It's like the TV series; it doesn't explain. You're like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Like, and then as you go through, you kind of get on its wavelength. And I like that the story doesn't like stop and explain. I like in the TV
There's
shows
no exposition.
that you do.
Yeah, I think
there's
like
not.
to a certain degree there needs to be because just
So you think that's a flaw with it?
yeah, I think like unless you have the time to really think about it, which most people that are watching TV I imagine don't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, think about it. I do have the time to think about it.
Yeah. Well, I guess so do I.
Yeah.
Unemployment
Unemployed,
win.
self-employed.
That just sounds like unemployed with extra steps.
Pretty
But then
much.
this was a problem that Brian Fuller ran into with Hannibal as well, which I think is a fantastic series because it's like a really excellent series. I love it as an adaptation of the books. I love what they did with it. I love the acting. But it did run into a problem where it just wasn't getting the viewers because it was so uncompromising and because it was like willfully weird. So that was on Hannibal aired on NBC, I think. It was one of the major networks.
That's right on Netflix.
Yeah, no, it was like on Netflix in the UK, but it aired originally on NBC.
What does NBC stand for? National Broadcast something.
National Broadcasting America.
And that's National Basketball Association.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I don't know National Broadcasting. But anyway, it aired on one of the major networks, and eventually they were like, it's amazing it even got to 3 series because they were like, well, we're just not getting the viewers. We have to end it. American Gods is slightly different. That airs on, we get it on Amazon, but it airs on Stars, which is like a cable network. So it's the case. It's kind of it's an American network. It's like the equivalent to HBO or something, where like you pay a subscription, and that helps fund the content. The rest of the
HBO
stuff they
home box
produce.
office.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
With Stars is just, I think it's a similar thing, but like a different model. So yeah, it's definitely the case that these TV shows aren't the best for new viewers. They don't reach out and grab you. Like, I'm 5 episodes in and I've read the book and I obviously do have the time to think about it. So I know the broad outlines and the broad sketches, but I think in some ways it's one of those things you do just have to experience. You have to sit back and not be like, wait a minute, he was over here and that guy's there and I'm questioning it. Kind of get on his wavelength and let this weirdness not wash over you, but kind of adapt your own thinking to how weird the show is and just kind of enjoy it as it goes. But are you saying it's a flaw? You're saying it needs more exposition?
Yeah, it's very difficult to enjoy if you don't really know what's going on. And even
I guess I'm not sure.
Also, you haven't seen the last episode of this series, but it kind of leaves you on a bit of a cliffhanger. You're like, what's going on now?
I mean, that's
also none of the characters are particularly well explained. You have to already have quite an in-depth knowledge of like mythology.
I don't know. I think because when I started with the book, I knew like just about enough to kind of gather that Wednesday was Odin, but I didn't know too much about what's going on and what he's about. And I think it's a show that rewards you knowing more, but you don't necessarily need to. It's not like you need to know everything about a Jinn or an Ifrit to understand that plot.
Well,
like
not at
you
all.
just need to understand that it's these two characters, one of whom.
I tell you what, some of the characters look as if they're just there because to be clever.
Yeah, like who?
Like the Ifrit, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the chap's chasing him, and that he in turn ends up giving can't remember a name in the thing. Emily Browning and Leprechaun.
Laura and Matt Sweeney.
Yeah. He ends up giving them a lift most of the way.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
you know, they could have just stolen the car. Like, there's no real. Like,
yeah, but I liked that because in the book the Ifrit story is one of those.
Just one second. Dick, could you pass me the Otravine? It's in the thing next to the condoms.
Yeah, the what?
It's a spray thing. It's like a nasal spray. Not that one. The other one. Sweet. Cheers.
Yeah. So in the book,
Thank you.
the
Ominous
Ifrit
hand.
section and the Bealquist sections are both like somewhere in America. So they're like told by they're like the Coming to America stories.
Yeah.
So they're like excerpts. Then the Ifrit, we have the little bit where they meet up and they have sex in the hotel, and then the Jinn steals the guy's identity and goes, and but that's never referenced in the book again. That character never has any bearing on the plot. Neither of them ever show up again.
Exactly, but
And I like that in the TV series they bring it back in. I think
for
that's
a TV series, that's like it's actually confusing to a viewer.
but that's why I like that they brought him back in, because otherwise viewers would go, oh, what was that about? That weird scene that we just spent like 10 minutes on. I like that they've brought him back in and they're developing Mad Sweeney more, because in the book as well, Mad Sweeney shows up like twice.
Yeah. What they should have done is like, for when like adapted to TV, things that are cool to learn about in the book and are interesting, like I don't know, facsimiles. There's a word I never get to use. I'm not even sure if I used it correctly. Taciturn. Anyway, so yeah, stuff like that should be maybe expunged from the TV series.
You think taken out?
Yeah, because it doesn't add anything.
Because I thought
and, like, it changes the overall story. So
Well, I'm
adding in
interested.
Vulcan is really cool, but it changes the entire story.
So do you think there's an extent to which they're stretching it? Because this was one thing I thought, is that if I'd adapted the book, I probably would have done it as a more straight adaptation, and it would have been like one miniseries. They clearly want this to run on a bit.
I mean,
and they're adding content. Like they've changed Laura's character a lot.
I can't see it going over 2 series. Like, if it does,
Do you think it would feel stretched?
it already feels sort of stretched.
Okay, because I like the road trip. I've only gotten to the start of the sort of road trip they're doing. I like that we're seeing more Mad Sweeney, partly because I enjoy his
I
screen
really like
presence
Mad.
so much.
God, that fucking burns like 1,000 suns. Oh, fucking hell.
This is self-medication on camera. You've zoomed in. I love it. Classic giant cameraman.
Oh, God. Proper hurts, though. Could you put that back for me?
What is that?
It's Otravine.
What's that?
It's I can't pronounce the drugs that are in it. Yeah, good catch.
I think they've made more of it by tying these characters in the books are less connected. So Laura gets much less screen time, page time in the books. I like we're seeing more of her. I like that we're kind of developing the relationships and the characters.
I think that, like, by creating these added relationships, we're actually sort of almost like mocking the book a little bit, because I really, really enjoyed the book. I read it when I was like, Christ, I must have been like.
It was 10 years ago, so you must have been about 30. Oh, got it.
I must have been about 18, 19, something like that. Like, my sister gave it to me as a gift, and she was like, "You'll really enjoy this." And I read it. It was really heavy going for me because I hadn't really read anything that dense before, but I really loved it. So now to like see the characters, like Laura is a dick.
Yeah.
She's a dick character,
And she's done very differently than she was in the book.
Yeah, and like Mad Sweeney, as much as I love his character on screen, but he is a fucking bellend.
Well, he kind of was in the book.
Yeah, I know.
In the
but
book,
there was
you
a
feel
character that
more sad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, you're just like, I actually just really dislike you.
But then I think that the book does a fair job of doing this as well, where it makes the gods aren't uniformly likable people. A lot of them
They're
are
all-
quite
that's-
needy, hungry.
But they're all like the Greek pantheon, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're all-
it's this idea of like flawed gods.
Yeah, which is an integral part because none of these gods, all of these gods, like spawned from fucking death and sex, like you were saying, and all these new gods are spawned from like basically idle hands.
Yeah.
Do you know, like
Idle
also
hands and
idle,
new gods
IDOL. Let's just clarify.
Oh, puns.
Yeah, thank you.
Had to clarify that one.
Yeah, no, because you got it works
Because
if
this
it's
isn't
written down. You know, if it's written down. If I just like IDOL,
And you can just edit it in.
you spell it out for me.
And then it'll come across idle.
Idle hands. Anyway.
Yeah. But you don't like, because I like, you're right, the book is very densely packed, and there's so much in the book, like,
So
and I can see
read-
why he spun it off, because there's so many little things in the book
I
that
read
you
the
could
non-abridged.
take.
Did you read the abridged version or the non-abridged?
I think it was the non-abridged. I think it was the longer one.
Yeah, it's about this thick.
Yeah, it's huge.
About the thickness of the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's...
With an
But
extra
I like that
12,000 words in it.
I like that they've done that with the TV series, though. I like that they've taken a book that's so dense and
This looks silly.
stretched it out a bit more. That does look silly.
No, we'll watch. Oh. You are. Cheers, mate.
Good catch. Yeah, okay, I think maybe because you've seen more than me, because you've seen up to the end of the first series, maybe I'll start getting this fatigue where I'll be like, okay, that didn't need to be there. Why did they add this?
Like there were parts when I was watching it and I ended up playing on my phone.
I mean, I do that anyway, but that's partly just... I do that even if I'm
Idle
watching a
hands.
great film.
Yeah.
Like, I find it quite hard to focus. Like, I watched a movie called High Rise last night with my dad on DVD. It's good.
Is that
Good
the one that
movie.
watches Sex and the City in his boxer shorts while masturbating?
He was in my mum's dress.
Whatever.
I'll have you know. Yeah, no, and even then, it was a great movie, and I still found myself like on my phone just checking Facebook. I don't think that's a comment on the quality of what I'm watching.
For me, it is.
Yeah.
Because I only, if something's really, really engaging, then I engage with it. Whereas if something's beginning to wear me down, then I become distracted.
I don't know, maybe it's because I'm taking it slower as well, because I definitely think there's so much going on that if I were to watch more than like 2 episodes in a row, I probably would get a bit fatigued. But that's why I try and split it up. I try and like read a review or an article in between.
I did really watch 8 hours in pretty much one sitting.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's interesting. I guess we'll have to come back to it if and when they announce the series 2 and series 2 comes out.
It will come out. Like they can't leave it where it is.
Yeah, I mean, has it already been renewed? Do we know? Has the network renewed it?
I want to say yes, but I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, have a look.
Okay.
Because there are lots of things where I don't mind my films and TV shows, my entertainment being a little bit uncompromising. I don't mind having to work for it. But then there are examples where that just won't work. Like Hannibal is one. I watched the new Blade Runner movie this week, which is great, and without any spoilers, that film is already getting pulled from cinemas. It's already run its course in cinemas.
Really?
It had a budget of I think 150 million, and it made 30 million on its opening weekend, which is not good for a big film.
No.
The original wasn't a success at the time either, but I think it's a case that a lot of people even though most cinemas have dropped their prices
stars
now,
are spelled with a Z.
yeah, because it's cool. But even though cinemas have dropped their prices, I think a lot of people don't want to pay, £5 to spend 2.5 hours being a little bit confused. And I guess it makes sense for TV because time is, even though a lot of us are bored, time is still at a premium. And a lot of people aren't going to sit there for an hour-long episode or something that they need to pay attention to when there's other stuff to be doing. Yeah.
Well,
so I think that is
does it constitute as other stuff to be doing if you're fucking around on Snapchat or?
Yeah, I don't know, but then I do that.
There's already enough dick pics in fucking American Gods.
Yeah.
Do you not think that so much of television, though, is made to appeal to an audience that doesn't have to think? You just sit there and absorb it, and you can be a complete background character. The thing about American Gods and other things like The Expanse is that it actually does make you work. They don't put all of that exposition in because it's slightly deeper. You have to work for it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And I think there's
just to clarify, does this mean that the sort of people that feel like they're Rick and Morty fans are the sort of people that American Gods wants to attract?
That's what I was going to say. I don't think there's anything wrong with TV shows that are easy. One of my favourites.
By the way. American Gods commissioned in its second week of production.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Really keen to see how that comes out. But one of the things, one of my favourite TV shows is Parks and Rec, where I love just spending time with the characters. I love sitting back. I can watch hours of it, and it's TV comfort food. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, I haven't actually watched that through.
Jesus Christ! 12 seasons of just being
yeah,
you've gotten
that's not worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
But I think you do have to enjoy a show like American Gods in a different way. And I think I like stuff that rewards you putting a bit more effort in.
It's the sort of, I'll tell you what, if it's aimed specifically at a fan base that are going to actively go out and search it, research the characters, and because I did a little bit of research and I had to watch fucking 55 minutes of
you didn't have to.
I fucking did in order to be able to tell you all that information about
Moloch?
Nah, someone else that we spoke about earlier.
Space. The Ifrit.
Yeah, the Ifrit. There you go. It's nice to see that as soon as I use that piece of knowledge, gone.
Yeah.
But,
transient.
Yeah, there was 55 minutes of me having to watch YouTube documentaries with a guy with the most irritating voice in the world, I swear to God. But, yeah, about all of the things that were going on in the American Gods pantheon, all the gods that were mentioned, all the gods that are going to be mentioned, the ones that came up in the book, and the ones that were added in, or the ones that haven't really been mentioned that much, like Loki, for example.
Yeah.
Who's a rather important character.
Yeah, he is, but that's a big old spoiler, isn't it? That's a real twist.
Yeah, it fucking wouldn't have been if you hadn't said anything.
Yeah, you got me there. No, you're alright about that. Yeah, but I like shows that you can do that. I like where you can get really into the mythology and find more about it. That's why I used to really enjoy Game of Thrones, because on some level you can enjoy it as this kind of it's a great spectacle, but also, especially for the first 4 seasons, I love reading more. The world is so fully realised. But I think that's kind of backfired on the show. Since season 5, it's been, the rot has set in, and now it's the case where... Yeah, well, now it's the case where people are watching the show and they want that deeper experience. And it's still, spectacle. Some of the acting's still great. It's still got great scenes, but a lot of things don't add up and don't make sense, and they're suffering a backlash. So I think that's another thing. You've got to really walk this tightrope if you're going to make a TV series. You can't be willfully annoying and superior and be well, you wouldn't get it. It's got to be accessible enough. But I like that. I think that's whole part of the experience of being a fan of something, is to go into and learn more about it.
Have you ever seen Warehouse 13? Have you ever seen Warehouse 13?
Yeah.
Fucking wicked show.
Yeah.
Warehouse 13 is basically if a human does or if something amazing or terrible or whatever happens in a general area, then the energy that is used to create that thought or that process or whatever it is that happens is suddenly becomes imbued. An item will become imbued with that power. So they've got positive things, but they also have negative backlashes. So you've got Sigmund Freud's chair, for example. that whenever you sit in it, you suddenly
You think of dicks. Is it this chair?
No, you're like imbued with the ability to think in an incredibly psychological manner. So you can like psychoanalyze people really well. But you always come up with the same answer of like, regardless of it, it's like, oh, you're thinking of a father's penis.
Right. Okay.
And the thing is, it doesn't have to necessarily be a historical figure. It can be a run-of-the-day sort of situation. Like, for example, somebody proposes to somebody else. And something that's going to happen in the future is going to mean that is an important
event.
Momentous occasion.
An important moment.
So therefore, the ring will become imbued with that power, but of the future event. So
cool. So it reaches
like,
forwards. Like the ring in the present has the power because of it's important in the future.
It can do.
Okay.
And then like there's also things like there's a bracelet that it was given to this kid that was in a wheelchair. And he suddenly was able to play sports. It was like, what was it, like Babe Ruth's bracelet or something like that. And whenever he wore it, he suddenly became like insanely good at baseball, and he could walk and he could run. And then one day he lost it, but he could remember being able to do all that stuff. So like the downside to it was that if you're not wearing it, it's like essentially like the ring out of Lord of the Rings. You're just like, I need that.
It's like an addiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a fucking really cool TV show. It's also, have you ever seen The Room as well?
No.
Okay, so The Room is a similar sort of premise.
You're not talking about the movie The Room?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
That's so bad. No,
actually, we probably can do an episode where we talk about that because
Yeah.
they're doing the making of movie. But
yeah, Tommy Wiseau. What a knob. In this The Room, there's this chap finds a key, right, and it works in any lock, and you can open it, and it takes you into this motel room, right, which I'm not going to spoil it too much because if you haven't seen it, it's a 4-part miniseries.
Okay, cool.
And it takes you into this room, and whilst you're in there, as long as when you go to open the door again, you can think of any place in the world that's got a door in it, obviously. And you can open the door and you'll walk out there.
Like Monsters Inc.
Yeah, like that. And then there's various items that are in the room. That basically something whimsical or wonderful or something happened. And all of the items that are in the room are suddenly imbued with like special abilities, and some of them you can combine with other ones, and they do like various different things. So there's like a lighter that when you combine it with the glass eye suddenly shoots lasers.
That's cool.
Or like it looks back in time or something.
I want one of those actually.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I'd take this one out right now for a night that shoots lasers.
Does it actually come out?
I mean, yeah, everyone's eye comes out. It doesn't mean you should do it. Like most of the time, they don't go back in.
My stepdad once had his eye popped out. Was going down, his eye popped out, but he was tripping bollocks on mescaline. So he was just like, "No, I'm cool."
That doesn't sound like the right thing for me to do right now.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
but so all these. I can't remember where I was going with this. Just there's 2 really wicked TV shows.
Yeah, okay.
They're really cool.
Okay, will that do it? Oh, didn't see you there. I'm on Twitter at AlexTRyan27. This will be posted on both our Twitters, on Facebook, on SoundCloud, and we're going to cut some stuff in for YouTube. So now over to you for your promotion.
You can find my stuff on Patreon, patreon.com at Alex Velis Poet. That's AlexVellisPoet. So I almost spelled my own name wrong. Did you hear that? You can also find me on Twitter with the same handle. Instagram also at Alex Velis Poet. Facebook at Alex Velis Poet. And my Snapchat is...
You want to give him your Snapchat?
Is Alex Velis, I think. I think it's just Alex Velis.
He's not a poet on Snapchat.
No, trust me. It's just pictures of my face with various different backgrounds.
Yeah, and that filter that makes you look hungover.
It's not.
It's not a filter.
It's not a filter that makes me look hungover. I was just tired.
It's worth noting also that Patreon people get access to this stuff early.
Yeah,
and they'll probably get some like independent different stuff that won't be available anywhere else.
You do get loads and loads of extra stuff.
Cool.
Which is really cool. So yeah. What's our SoundCloud?
Oh bollocks! It's really hard to find.
Nice.
I mean, it goes up as like Alex and Alex podcast, but if you Google that, you get some bizarre results. You get As Told by Alex and Alex and Digby.
Who the fuck is Digby?
Who the fuck is Digby?
See you, Digby.
See you.
Fuck you, Digby.
Got him. Yeah, so I guess just keep searching.
Sorry, Digby.
But probably the best way to find us would be through Twitter or Facebook.
Can't
This has
sign
been
on.
Alex and Alex. I'm Alex Bryan.
I'm Alex Vellis.
And next week, we probably won't
We
go
will
on
do a
so many
podcast.
tangents. All we can say is that next week, we will likely do a podcast.
It's set in stone that we will do one, but it's not set in stone what it will be about.